I recalled some interesting events that occurred after my mom brought home a doll from a thrift store. Initially, she intended to remove some pieces and add insect eyes for a Halloween decoration. However, after noticing my interest in the doll, she decided I could keep it since she had bought it for next to nothing. The doll has been sitting on top of my bookshelf, right next to my bed. Some friends and I have joked about the doll being haunted, but nothing had ever happened. It was just one of those things you look at and think, yep, that thing's possessed. Eventually, I started having issues with the light in my room. It constantly flickered, and because of how it's set up, I needed to remove 3 latches by hand just to get to the bulb. I vented about this to my friend Abso, who, with a slight chuckle, casually asked if I had done anything to appease the doll lately. I joined in the joke and placed some hair clips I had gotten from a family trip into the doll's hair, then went to bed shortly afterward. I planned to ask my dad about switching the bulb in the morning, but I completely forgot. Not just that morning either. I forgot about the light being an issue altogether. Why? Well, after that night, my light stopped flickering, despite a week straight of it happening before. I told Abso about this, and we both agreed that while it was a bit unsettling, it was probably just a coincidence. So, we all forgot about the doll for a few months until my friend Skeel started working at the same deli I did. One night, Skeel took a shift, even though she wasn't feeling well. She got roped into taking a coworker's shift despite saying she wasn't feeling up to it. The coworker talked to the owner, who said it was fine if Skeel took the closing shift, as long as the coworker came back at closing to teach her what to do. The coworker's reason for not being able to work that shift was that she had to feed her cats, yet she was able to come back to teach Skeel how to close. Over the night, Skeel's condition worsened, and she told our coworker that she felt really nauseous. An argument broke out, ending with Skeel calling me in tears. After the call, I dreaded having to work with that coworker on Sunday. I looked at the doll and made a casual comment about it making my coworker sick so I wouldn't have to deal with her. When Sunday came and that coworker didn't show up, I was beyond scared. She had called in sick, and someone else took her shift. After that, I told my friends about what had happened. When they connected this incident to the light issue, they all decided the doll had to be haunted. I'm not one to jump to conclusions, but this was starting to sway me a bit. Only one other thing has happened since then, and compared to the others, it's very minor. One night, I lost my night guard and couldn't find it the next morning. I woke up to find it right in front of my door. This could have easily been my cats moving it around during the night. Despite whether the doll is haunted or not, my friends have decided that when they're over, it needs to be put away inside my closet. I've decided to name her Sky in the meantime, so I don't have to keep calling her the creepy doll. Sorry this is short. Thanks for listening. Hi there. Although I'm only a teenager, I've experienced many strange things that I can't explain. If I listed every creepy or paranormal event, I'd be typing for hours, so I'll just share one story. This happened a month or 2 ago when my mom and I stayed with my Nana for the night. She lives in a big house in the middle of town and hates being there alone at night. I don't blame her. I sleep in my aunt's room because she lives in Dublin and wouldn't be visiting for a few weeks. When I went upstairs, there was a box with an amazing old doll inside. It was usually kept in the spare room that my grandparents used as an attic. It was a sad Saturday night, and Nana went to bed around the same time as my mom. I stayed up late watching Netflix on my tablet. Around midnight I started feeling sleepy, so I took off my glasses and went to sleep. I could hear my mom snoring downstairs, but I also heard a small thud outside the bedroom door and a creepy voice inside the room. My aunt's room has 2 beds, and I was on the double bed. The voice, saying, "Help me," repeatedly, seemed to come from under the single bed. To my horror, the doll was under there, and the voice was coming from it. Needless to say, it was a rather restless night. The next morning, I asked my mom about the doll. She couldn't recall moving it but explained that it had a tape player built in that repeated recorded messages. However, there were no children in the house, so who was asking for help? When I was younger, I received an old porcelain doll from my great-aunt, an avid doll collector. If you've heard my past stories, this is from the house with the Alice in Wonderland room. The gift was thoughtful but always scared me. The doll had a heavy, unsettling aura despite its beautiful appearance with real lace and striking blue glass eyes. The eyes seemed to follow you, giving the feeling of an actual gaze. The doll also had a tendency to move on its own. Initially, I kept it on my dresser, but it would subtly change positions. One morning, I found it turned around, staring at me with its arms raised. From then on, I closely observed its movements. Eventually, I told my mom I didn't want it in my room, but she insisted it stay because it was a gift. One night, I locked it in my closet, only to find it on my bedside table the next morning. Terrified, I decided to destroy the doll. I grabbed it by the feet and smashed its head against the dresser, claiming I had dropped it accidentally. My mom scolded me but disposed of the doll. Thankfully, it never reappeared. Due to this incident, I am extremely uncomfortable around old porcelain dolls to this day.